Welcome once again, everybody, to the Fatherhood Connections one-to-one conversations, and I welcome you all. Today we have a special show as we're going to have an open discussion in regards to the roles of fathers and the roles of mothers. I have two special guests, and we're going to go with ladies first. Ms. Adrienne Thomas. She's a parent support partner at Hagera Health. In her role, she supports families with children that have mental health issues, and she provides great supports to the family. Also, she has the At Your Blessing Resource Lady, which is a great page on Facebook providing an array of information that will support you along your way in life. Next, we have my main man, Calvin Mann, Good Fathers Only, Encourage Me Out in Yard. If you've been on Facebook and you haven't caught any of his postings in regards to the work that he does, you're missing a lot. This man works hard in regards to looking out for our youth of color, the barriers that they go through, and he's out there pushing it. And I really appreciate both of you being on the show. So saying hello and how y'all doing today?
I'm ladies first. I'm always into.
Hey, you guys, everything is all well. Thank you, John, so much for having me. Calvin, you my mans.
Well, you know, we're really going to get right into it. You know, we always talk about fatherless homes, how it affects the children. Then there's a conversation that comes out in regards to talking about moms who, it seems like the majority of these households are just being led by moms. Last check I've seen on statistics where it was close to about 18 million homes that are being led by moms. Only about 3 million being led by dads. But the real
41 million children caught up in the child support system.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And really the conversation comes about whereas trying to connect the two. You know, we look at a lot of various homes, they're co-parenting, there's a blended family, you know, my kids, your kids, our kids. But the bottom line is, as parenting, you know, we need to be on the same page, you know.
Yeah.
So, Calvin, I'm going to throw it out to you first, man. Define what you consider to be the role of a father.
Define fatherhood.
Yes, sir.
Remember Allen Iverson?
Yep.
His nickname was The Answer. That's fatherhood. God made sure of that, right? And in some cases, a lot of fathers may not know or have been in touch with that wisdom that was naturally installed in them. In a lot of cases, you know, fathers need to understand just how valuable they are. And so fatherhood is to protect, provide, pursue, solve, teach, empower, encourage, love, guide, and live. It's just the actual message. One of my quotes is, you don't want to be the example that causes the child to fail.
Right. Now you know, when we talk about the role of fathers, you know, I got to play devil's advocate here. Okay. Now, one of the things that's always been said, and we preach it, you know, as fatherhood facilitators and as advocate, that even though you're not in that household, you still got to love that mother. But speaking, as I would for those dads that's out there, it's like, well, I'm not in the relationship anymore. It's broken down. What are you trying to tell me that I should be loving this woman who I no longer have that type of relationships, but we still have to raise these kids?
So because of the child and the fact that you made the child with the woman, that emotion will always sit there. There'll also be the other emotions. But anytime there is some good, that emotion will surface. It's just natural from, the relationship because you have given life. I haven't talked to probably my son's mother probably since he was at UOD, right? And because that's the way she wanted it, But more importantly, I still got a job I got to do, right? So I got to fight for every inch. Like I told you before, every other weekend, that ain't enough time, right? But sometimes you got to fight for another day, another inch, But to really get into answering your question, it's work, man. It really is. It's work, and some people do it, and some people fight about it. Some people kill over it.
Right. Now, Adrian, as that mom that, what is really your expectations? Because we never really have that conversation one-on-one with that mom. Like, what is your expectations? And even though I might be in another relationship, I'm definitely in another household, when it comes together, but your expectation or a mom's expectations when it comes from that father, who we know his responsibilities are to help parent, but in loving you and what it means, even though y'all not connected, what it is in regards to loving that mom for the sake of the children and supporting them.
Well, I would say it's not so much as if you're not in a relationship with them that you have to have an expectation in order to be able to see the child or manage a connection with mom. Definitely respect is number one. That's the wholeheartedly number one for things to be able to connect. That open communication, the consistency. You have to realize with motherhood, it's much more than just carrying a child. It's much more than just the DNA. Motherhood is that choice that you make every day to put someone else's happiness and well-being ahead of your own, to teach those hard lessons and to do the right thing, and to forgive yourself. It doesn't matter if you and dad don't love each other anymore, but the sake of that child being in the middle, you forsake all things, no matter what, for that child. So the expectations, yes, should be definitely respect first more than anything.
Okay, great. Now, when we look at the various roles, and it's, society puts so much pressures on dads. Hey, this is your role as the hunter, the provider, the money maker, but we as males tend to look at the mom like, you know what? You brought him in. You're the one that has the key to either lock us out or bring us back in, to be able to be there for that child. Now, for that to happen, then that word support comes in.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see yourself as a mom supporting the father of your child?
Well, it comes with age. It comes with maturity. when I was younger, I had a different mindset that, hey, you should already have it together. You should already know what you're supposed to do. You made this child with me and you're supposed to be there to help me through it all. But as I've gotten older and my children have become older, and with me being a parent support partner, I see that it's very important for mothers to educate the father of their children or child just as well as they're being educated. So that means pulling them into those birthing classes before the child is born, or making sure that the school connects with you and that child as that parent, that may not be around all the time, but you're still involved in the child's life, making sure that that school is aware that the father does exist, bringing him in on some of those parent events that they may have, accompanying them to the doctor and all of that. So it's really just it's a maturity walk. And you have to have a maturity walk in order to know how to include someone else into the circle.
Okay.
So I really think that fathers are very important, but they lack education and they lack knowledge, either because the mother may lack education and knowledge and not know, or they could just mimic something that they have been accustomed to seeing someone else doing. So it takes time, but I really think that the education piece of pulling fathers in to do the exact same thing that you're learning as a mother, that they can be learning to learn how to know how to be a father and become a better father.
Hey, Calvin, now, when it comes to that word support, we as men kind of cringe, because when we hear support, the first thing we think about and hear about is child support. And we go about our daily walk of life. Well, the system is hitting me. I'm doing my best. But sometimes it falls on deaf ears because we don't really have that conversation with the mom. We don't really have that conversation even with our children in regards to about our own situation. What would be the basics that you see in for a dad in being supportive? Reaching out, doing the best you can, but having that communication with the mom and with your kids about support.
Well, that's if they cooperate, right? That's the key here is cooperation. Other than that, support turns into many different things, right? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. There was an ulterior motive in my situation, in many situations, for a lot of brothers, but I like the success factor of support looking like me being present. And that's a big factor. As Adrian was saying, men learning, but there's a part of that whole scenario that culturally a lot of us miss. When the father's involved from birth to 3, he's more than likely to remain in the child's life forever. Right? And so that's a big component to the situation. For me, support is everything, right? I want to be at the birthday parties, the whole nine. I got a great push away story. And, me and my oldest son showed up at my man that just got out the car, my son, the swag monster, right? Showed up at his 16th birthday, right? He texted me, "Dad, this where we at." We walk in. Of course, I come in suited, booted, two-tone, looking good, put it together. For mine, what I mean? Got him a nice, cold, crispy wooden watch for us, right? And When me and my son walked in and sat down, she got up from the table and left. Right. And so, you know, he was feeling bad. It's another thing, a point. Why the man always got to do this or make the sacrifice? Well, for me, it was, all right, son, here's another teaching moment. Right? What you want me to do? This your birthday. No matter what, I got you. Like, Dad, I said, you want me and two men to leave? He was like, yeah. He said, Dad, I think that's going to be better. That's right. Meanwhile, the parents of the said person, right? The parents, they want to know what's going on. And I say this to a lot of men, right? When we put ourselves in these situations, we have to endure. Very, very tough when you're not an in-house dad. Even if you got cooperation, co-parenting, some of those days are gonna be tough. But you can make it. Prior to that, you know, anything after that, you just gotta always be thinking of a way to counter games, because there's always gonna be a game. It's always gonna be because society has told them that they got to be the only ones that the kid love. And the man, you just put your money up and shut up, and you show up. If you don't show up, something go wrong. Everybody mad at you. They can't stand you. They hate you. I mean, like it's crazy. So you know, you just got to be clever in this situation, and I think that's what we do with the men that we talk to. You got to be clever. You got to be ahead of the game sometime. Then you got to participate in the game sometime. But whatever it takes you do to be in your child's life, right? Let them know you love them. You know, like, you know, I tell him all the time, hey man, you got to stay tight. You're a handsome guy. You know what I mean? You can't be out here not looking good, looking wild. That ain't what we do. So, you know, we make sure that he stay tight, you know, because he's smart. He can do some things, right? He has them. So take care of yourself, right? So in teaching, that's not stuff that's gonna get taught. Like as long as they know, that's the greatest thing. They not with you. And in that process, that's how that's what we have to do when we're divorced dads. We're dads who are divorced or separated from our children. We have to be clever. We have to be able to participate. We have to always be maneuvering. It's chess. It is not checkers. It's chess with backgammon, spades, and tongue on the back of it. So
Exactly.
yeah.
We've all, you know, the three of us, and you know, we grew up in our own different path. You know, we saw a lot of things while we were kids growing up, and see how, you know, our parents were, and you know, they or other individuals within our community became the models that, you know, gave us and provide us with an image or a vision when it came down to parenting. But none of us are perfect. You know, none of us are perfect. Adrian, what were there mistakes that you felt that you made, you know, earlier? Because we always talk, just like you said, about experience. You know, you got to go through some things before you know what's right and what's wrong.
Exactly.
Were there some things that may occurred earlier in communicating or dealing with the relationship when things weren't going right, that you felt, you know what, later on, you know, this is a new way to handle this situation. What were your bumps in the road coming up?
Well, being a mother at 19 and 20 years old, you know, being young and not understanding a lot about parenting, not understanding about, why are you over here with someone else and you're supposed to be over here with me and I'm taking care of the kids by myself and you're over there still doing what you want to do. The mindset was like, hey, I'll just do child support and I'll just, keep it moving from there. There was times that I gave chances to say, hey, do you want to be involved? Let's try to work it out, trying to co-parent and do all of the above. And it was just something within both of us, me wanting to get him involved and then him not knowing how to parent because he didn't have that parenting from his parent. So the mindset that I have now looks different because if I can rewind back and just go back to that support and understanding that he is new at this and understanding that I am new at this and that we are all going to make mistakes in life and just showing him those resources and those teachings just like I was taught, it probably would have made things a little bit better. As far as the worrying about if he's with someone else or he's not going to be over here and do this and do that, if you bring those teachings together and you do it together and you co-parent together and you have that knowledge and that compromising together, then you would see a lot more success in fathers, even when you guys aren't together.
All right. Calvin, are you still there, my brother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, back at you as a young man, walking or falling into fatherhood. What were some of the bumps that you ran into early on in your start of being a father?
I was fighting off. How do I put this? I was fighting off what my parents went through, so I was fighting off my dad. I was fighting off the perspective that I didn't want to be like my dad. Because the perspective that got painted to me was controversial, about my dad. So do I want to be like him? Would I be like him? I only got so much with him. So am I going to be like him? Right. And that's what I was dealing with. But I've always been optimistic. So before my son was born, I spoke life over. All my kids, I spoke life over. I've always been optimistic no matter what the situation was. And I think the biggest thing about being a dad was just learning to work with the mom, right? And the vindictiveness early on, then that shifted, right? Because I wanted to be a good dad, you know what I mean? And so to me, being a good dad was just about making sure that I was there. I was involved. I could help them. I can do some things. And, my voice was minimalized early on, right? But you're talking about a good man. So me being a good man, what does that look like from her perspective? Well, hey, here's my coach's check. You know what I mean? Just let me continue to be a father to my child. You know what I mean? And we co-parented all the way right through his college. And then when he got married, we gave each other a pound, you see? But she wanted to cooperate, right? That's what you need when you have a situation where you're not in your kid's life every day.
Interesting. This conversation really has been about, co-parenting, not seeing, we're really taking a real look at where it is today in society when majority of the homes are co-parenting. You got a single parent. It said what in the 1960s, what 80 to 90% of the homes were two-parent households.
Yep.
From you, Calvin, what do you feel has been the push to where we just about accepted, single-parent households, that we're not trying to come together to have a union with two under the same roof?
Well, justification, right? Justification became a normal sin where we justify, right? It's something that I don't need you, right? We diversify men, right? The sexual revolution, right? Everyone has to be a sex god to have a relationship now. And it has nothing to do with forever, right? You have to look a certain way. We start putting these different things out on men, right? We stopped looking at what a real man brought to the table. We only looked at how much money he brought to the table. Well, then you don't have the real factors of understanding. And then the men, we were out here, right? Because in the 60s, you got to remember in the 60s in the city of Detroit, we had 75% of the black dollar was in circulation. They sold out those businesses, right? So now you done sold out those businesses, meaning you sold out who? Your family legacy, right? And so now that blows you out the house. Then you over here and you over there, right? Because we got to take the brunt force for having 2-3 households. I'm over here married, but I got 2 other households on the side because I work. I'm the man that work. Your husband can't work this, right? So we took advantage of a lot of things. And so we all had to reap. And the reason why it's sitting this way is because of the governmental system, the governmental debt. If they didn't have access to the governmental debt, you can believe we would still be together with our twos and fews, right? Making it happen, right? But the governmental debt plays a significant part because of all of this education that everyone has, and they have this education in these systems, right? So child protective services, foster care, all of that stuff increased because they knew when the little T in the middle that says it's easy to get a divorce. So now you get that little easy to divorce, what's going to happen? The system knew it was going to affect the children. Now your children, since 65, been in the juvenile system. So you got to look at the part that we played in acceptance, right? At the same time as men, we were diabolical. We were abusive. We were controlling. There are a number of things that get in the way that we had to pay for. But I want to say this. As we, everything we do is to the restoration of family, right? The family is older than anything else. It's older than the Bible. See, the family concept is older than the Bible. I let that one sink in, right? And so what has happened is that we find reasons to attack the family for the lack of the financial piece. So money has become our God. And that is the destructive part. Because if you can't give me no money, John, you ain't no good to me.
So, Adrian, to throw it your way, because I can say I was happy to be present at your wedding. But your husband, he was very supportive, even though you weren't married, So when you could have just said, hey, you know what, I'm doing all right because he's here, being that father figure. And the statistics say that individuals that get married is a high percentage of divorce happening within a time. You could have went the other route. What really played a factor for you to say, hey, you know what? Even though I got you here, I want to be where we're married and we have that union in front of our kids. What was your thought going into that, getting married?
I guess just having that stability, showing them that it is possible when things seem impossible. I didn't want those same trivial mistakes to happen that had already happened before. I felt like things that I can give myself, I wasn't looking for that within him. Like Calvin mentioned, the money is definitely, it's an evil thing. So a lot of us as women, we don't look for that expectation within men. We don't look for them to be smart. We don't look for the emotional intelligence. We don't look for, you know, the career piece of it. You know, are they working? Are they stable? Do they seem like they have it together? Are they coming from a well-nurtured home? What is their background? We as women, we don't look for those things. We just, and if we had it, we let our guard down, and then that becomes the biggest issue within the relationship. So for me, the things that I could already support myself on, I didn't look for that within him. I looked for more out of mainly the stability of having a good man that has been there just like me. We've been there. Either he's been ran over by someone, or either I've been ran over by someone. And we were just looking to connect to see how we can better ourselves for our older children. And now that I'm a grandmother, the parts I played as a parent may not have been good to set a great foundation. I may have had the foundation, but not something good inside of that home. I want to be able to set that new wisdom and knowledge and support to my grandchild going forward.
Okay, great. Yeah, going forward, we really need that, and we really need that two parent household, that image to remain strong going forward. It's easy for us to say, as they say, I've already got the cow. I ain't got to pay for the milk later on. Let me continue doing what I'm doing.
Right, but you also have to realize you got to give them a chance too. Even though, coming up, my kids may have seen me off and on with, their dad, and then went into another relationship with somebody else, and that didn't work out right, and got married from there, and then got a divorce from there. I still have a chance with them being early 20s, and one is mid 20s. They still have a chance to see what it looks like to get it right. They still have a chance to see what it looks like to be a good mother, or a good role model, a good father. Even though my son hasn't made the decision to have children right now, the nurturing comes before the children even come. That's where it should start at. The nurturing should start way before that gets here. So it's hope that's there, but it's just that as mothers, we have become so singly to ourselves, and we can do it, and we got to learn how to just step back. And once again, that comes with maturity. Beforehand, I would have said, hey, yeah, I got it. I can do it on my own. I'm straight. I don't need him. It's all good. But that's not a good example. That's not a good foundation, because when they become older and they're ready to have children, and with my daughter, she already has a daughter, I always say to both of them, what it took to make her, even if it was a mistake, even if you wasn't prepared or ready, it's going to take a whole lot in order to stay involved.
Okay, great. Wow, I still have you right there. I'm going to flip it now. This is something that I wish I could be able to have, and I think a lot of us wish we could have had this question thrown at us before we would get into a top level commitment. But if there was one thing that really you could ask for and really let men know going along, what are your expectations, or what do you feel that they should provide as they get themselves involved in a family, whether it's creating your own or finding that perfect mate per se, and say, you know what, we're coming together, we're raising children. Hey, this is my expectations of you. What would be your expectations as a mom? Finally having that sit down conversation with that guy and say, this is what I expect in your role as a man and as a father raising this family. Because just to let you know, as you're thinking about that, I've kidded within the last couple of years that now we should turn the dating game into an interview, you know, because a lot of things we don't talk about are individual expectations, expectations as a couple going forward, me respecting your expectations and what your goals are. But then when it comes down to families, it becomes, I'm not going to say difficult, but different, because you're talking about two individuals who was raised in a different environment, but now they're coming together to raise their own. So what would be the expectations, you know, or what would you like to say to those men out there and say, hey, this is what the basics that most women are looking for in your role?
Well, definitely for sure. Number one, that goes back to the respect level. That respect level of one another, whether we're together or whether we're not. Compromising, being there, providing, expectations of having a career or employment, that discipline needs to be there, value of education, and raising the children to know when they go out in the world, what you've instilled in them, it will remain with them. Outside of just being the regular loving person unconditionally, and to make sure that the kids know that you love them no matter what happens between mom and father. Those are my basic expectations. If I had a chance to start all over again, I would definitely do an interview. Definitely.
And you know, like I've thought about that over the years, and that is something that really I have those conversations with my kids, because they're, you know, to the point where those relationships that they're looking at now is not how it was when we was in high school or something like that. Like, you know, I got a boyfriend, I got a girlfriend, and we're just having fun. You know, when you start thinking about, well, my future and your future and then our future, and where are we taking this to, you know, a lot of individuals, they don't think about those conversations. You know, I tell them about, you will notice the change, or when your expectation that you never spoke about comes into play. You know, when you first come to cohabitation, when you bring in your towels and you put them somewhere, and your partner is saying, I don't want towels right there on the right hand side folded that way, I prefer it on the left hand side. And you're thinking, well, okay, it really means nothing, or it could mean everything in a deal breaker for a relationship. You know, I expect my dishes to be washed a certain way. You know, I expect for you to take out the garbage because I never did. You know, all those little things, just like you said, when it gets to a point where there has to be an agreement to where it's like, somebody has to do a little give, somebody has to do a little take for us to make this work. I like to go to sleep with the TV on. You prefer to have the TV off, and you prefer to have it the TV set to where it go off at a certain time. It's those little things, which sometimes turn into big arguments down the line because you never had those conversations.
Been there. Been there, John. I can relate to that. Been there. And it is really, really, for me, it's really, really tough to be so strong as a woman because the man either wasn't there or either he was there but wasn't there.
Right.
And when you get into a relationship that someone wants to be there and do those things that they are supposed to do as a man or compromising as a family, you don't know how to react to it. So yes, if I at one point wanted the towel to the left and you move it to the right, yes, that was an issue for me because I'm so used to it just being me and the kids. And I didn't have to worry about it because the kids already knew mama wanted on the left, mama don't want it over there. And those little things do start to add up and they do become big problems. And that's where compromising and prayer comes in at, and working together hand in hand because you never had it before. Right. So it does take time. It does cause problems, but I started realizing that it's not worth my relationship. Okay. So is it over putting it on the left or putting it on the right, or this is the way I wash the dishes, this is the way you leave the TV on at night so I can go to sleep because that's how I had it before. It's just something that you have to work on together and agree. And it's not worth throwing away a person because you want it done your way and not worked on together. And that's the same thing that's going on with parenting with mothers and fathers. You would just rather throw away the whole father without showing them or you guys working together on those little things before they become big things.
And I believe that's probably one of the issues that males go through, especially we have a generation that has been raised primarily by a mother figure, and that's whether it's the mom or the grandmother or an auntie, and we have been so used to being catered to, and I think that's a lot of times that we are kind of like hard on mothers when it comes down to raising our young men, that some of the simplest fundamentals in regards to being independent on your own, how to wash your own clothes, how to iron your clothes, how to make certain phone calls, how to take care of business properly and timely. We've been accustomed to these mother figures doing that for us, that when we venture into that new relationship or a relationship period, our expectations are from, well, my mom always cooked dinner. Well, you never asked me how I felt about cooking dinner. I might not be the mom I'm cooking dinner every single night. I may only cook a Sunday dinner. You're going to figure out everything else Monday through Saturday. Well, what about me? Well, those skills should have been present within you. And then that conversation should have been had to where it's like, just sitting down casually, because during the dating game, we're just going out, we're buying this, we're buying that, where you want to go and eat, but there comes a time where it's like, okay, if something should happen to her, you become so dependent, how are you going to eat? Because that money starts to run out, quickly. And if I don't have the skill to take care of myself, then as a man, then how I'm going to take care of the family? What happens when our work schedule changes to whereas you now working afternoon or evening? The kids are coming home and they're hungry. You know, you can do the Lyft Uber all day long. Pretty soon that hamburger that you used to purchase at $5 as a meal and turn into 30 because hey, you're being charged. Pretty soon that's gonna quit. That's gonna be shut out. So you have to come up with those skills. You have to get away from, well, this is what these female figures did for me. What do I have to provide for them? What skills do I have for that? Do I have the communication and talk skills to help my children with their homework? Because I wasn't in that role. And yes, we can say because of factors where there was no father in the household, but there were models, there was images, there was those males that were present, that you could have looked up to saw, hey, I'm not used to that, but I see you cook for the family. You wash clothes for the family. You know how to clean for the family. If you have that conversation with that partner of yours, there can become an understanding, that sometimes there will be a trade-off in that responsibility. And that only helps the union become stronger. And then I know if, as a man, if I become sick, I have a woman beside me who able to pick up for a while to take care of those situations. Just like on the flip side, if something should happen to that mom, I'm there. I can provide all those needs. I don't know about doing the hair, but we're gonna figure that out later on down the line. Well, Adrian, I appreciate your time today. Seeing that we may have lost Calvin, but that's all right. He did provide us with some great words of wisdom.
Yeah, he's actually on here. We just can't see his picture.
We just can't pop him in.
Okay. Yeah, he actually had his hand up to ask a question regarding that. But just to piggyback on what you were, okay, there's Calvin there. Just to piggyback on what you were saying, and then I'll let Calvin have the floor. It does start in the beginning, because in the beginning, I was on a rendezvous. I was in love. I was all shook up, all of that. And he was the same way, and all of the above. And we never got to that point of saying what our expectations were. We didn't go that far, should I say. We didn't go that far as expectations of, cooking and cleaning and doing this and doing that, because once again, someone was there before him, but they weren't there. So I was doing the manly things that, I don't know if it's supposed to be a man's role or if it's supposed to be a woman's role, but, I was cutting the grass, I was edging the grass, I was taking the garbage out, and I was doing this and I was doing that, and didn't expect anything else. Just come home, here's a plate, that's that. But now that I have someone different, I'm still doing those things. I'm still, I'm not asking for much. I'm not asking for you to wash the clothes and do this and do that, and you've been out working and all of that. Yeah, some days I don't cook because everybody are adults in this house. So therefore, him and I may take that quality time and spend it going out. But like you said, when your money runs tight or it looks funny, what else do you have in order to support and hold on to each other? Is it worth sitting there eating a can of soup together, or are you going to kick them out? Or are you going to kick her out because certain things weren't done a certain way or established a certain way? So it's always a learning process, whether you're in a relationship, whether it's a family thing, it's always a learning process in everything that you do. And I just feel, once again, that if I could go back and do things all over again and had the education like I have now, the experience, the empowerment, not just the college degree type education, I would have more to give and offer to the father of my children to know how um, to make it work, how to co-parent better, and how to be involved.
Well, Calvin, so we can throw it at you. You know I was missing you, brother, but I know we was having some technical issues, but that's okay. Your opportunity, what would, as a male, what would you like to say to the women out there that we really would like to see as support?
Value us. Really take a good look at what we really bring to the table. Not what you think, but go look. Pick up a book. See the value that men bring to the table. Recognize that we're more than just a paycheck and a penis. Like we bring some tremendous value to the table, right? Love us, celebrate, because we carry the brunt force of the hate of the world. When we walk through the door, we then already saw at least 80 images, something against us. So for me, it is let's party together, right? Let's celebrate each other together. That builds a strong relationship, in my opinion. Pray, pray with me, pray for me. I'll pray for you. Some days I don't feel like it, some days you can. But that's how we work back toward the good of a two-parent household. It's just important that we restore family right now. It's the only thing that's going to really save us, in my opinion.
And I know you are a strong, adamant, hard brother when it comes down to putting family first. Did I do that promo pretty good for you, my brother Calvin?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, just like I was telling Adrian earlier, you know, I really do appreciate the information and being upfront, really, from both sides of the fence. Calvin, you know, a lot of times when we're on certain seminars, it's really pro dad, pro dad, pro dad, pro dad. But to have that opportunity to have a balanced conversation, to see both sides, you know, of the story when it comes down to the expectations from a mom to a dad and from a dad to a mom, you know, and not really putting any pressure or pointing blame, the reasons why where we don't have a two-family household, I mean, a two-parent household, whose fault it is, who's doing more. Really, the mindset is we need to do this together, you know, because we have some children that really are looking up to the models that's in front of us, you know, whether it's hearing the conversations and keeping that in mind and say, well, you know what? They just yelled at each other in front of us. You know, they must don't like each other, and that's how it's going to be. You know, no. You get two people that's going to work together to make sure that those kids, that their future is still bright because they have a purpose too. You know, and just to give them the knowledge that you know things can always be worked out, and things can be done in a way to respect both parents, whether they're in the household or not.
Yeah.
So I take my hat off to both of you. Thank you once again. Any last words that either one of y'all would like to provide?
I'm gonna just share, right, that we're doing it. We're teaching our kids unity. If you are following us or watching us or see us, no matter what your opinion is or would be, we know that we're restoring the idea of family in boys, right? We know that we're doing it. We're not teaching you don't need her or right and all of that. We're teaching them unity with the parental involvement You can look at the work. Our boys look out for each other. That's unity, right? Um, we have a major plan in this area. And so my one thing is again, how important is family? It is the very first Bible was family. It was written, him and her, long before the Bible. So we got to understand how important family is and not buy into all of these divisive tactics that we continuously get pushed and shoved down our throats. Now all of a sudden we're no good for each other, but we're good for other cultures. And I'm not a racist guy or a prejudiced guy. All I'm saying is that the system is teaching survival through you. And if you don't realize as a culture, right, if we don't realize it is important for us to teach unity to our children, hey, the number 10 reason we just posted today, the number 10 way Black boys are dying, suicide. That means there are 9 ways before.
Exactly. Ms. Adrian, any last words?
I can just say to us as women, let's just take a step back and give that chance. Let's not look at how things were then, that they're going to be like that now. Just giving fathers a chance, giving men a chance, not just so much as fathers, because there's not a, everybody is not a father, but just giving men the chance and the opportunity to present what values and what skills they bring to the forefront. And like Calvin said, sex is something that a man and a woman can give themselves. They don't need to have that expectation part of it. You got to cover the actual real meaning of that relationship and what's the purpose of that man being there and what's the purpose of that woman being there in order for you guys to genuinely, wholeheartedly connect.
Right.
You can't just throw them out, and you can't just throw us out because we don't get it right the first, the second, the 100th time. Leave room, leave a gap in between there for failure, because none of us is going to get it right. All of us are going to make mistakes. And is it worth throwing away a person simply because they didn't get it right through your eyes? So definitely we got to take our manly cape off as women and take our place and stay in our lane.
All right, Miss Adrian Thomas, got your blessings resource lady and serving and getting another paycheck as a parent support partner from Megara. Appreciate your time. Calvin Mann, good fathers only. Encourage me, I'm young.
Yes, yeah.
Encourage me, I'm old,
You can claim it. I'm not. You can have it, cousin. I'm young.
They keeping them young.
That's right.
And me as your host, John Miles, Fatherhood Connections. Like I said, we thank you once again. And just let you know, we are not college degreed in regards to talking about parenting, but we are experienced in going through the walks and doing the talk in regards to relationships, what it means to raise a family, especially a family of color in the inner city. Yes, not to say with other cultures, it's not hard and not difficult. Once again, we're speaking from our experiences, but we appreciate that you've taken out your time to hear what we had to say today. And we hoping that you can take some of these pearls and utilize them correctly, because at the end of the day, many years from now, that child will be an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to fall back on what was presented here.
I'm about to be a grandfather for the first time, and you talking, yes. It's your turn, buddy.
It's your turn.
It's your turn, buddy.
You got it. Now you can share all of that wisdom you got.
Oh man, hey, listen, I'm gonna brag for a second. I had a lot of wisdom when he was young, right? Just was, he took it, but I'm just trying to get him right now. He had that fresh start, right? And so I'm a father. That's a whole new awakening. That's something remember all that shit you said, excuse my language, you said about your
Yeah.
dad is at your doorstep now.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see how you handle it. So yeah, I'm excited for him. You know what I mean?
Good. Welcome to the team, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
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 I want to see how he wears it.
There you go.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
do well. You'll do well.
Oh yeah, he got support. He got us. We didn't have us.
There you
Yeah.
go. All
Yeah.
right, everyone. Have a great evening. Thank you once again. See you next time.
All right, my guys. Be blessed.
Good. You too, sir.
All right.